We always start off with our real estate tip of the week. And if it's your first one, we have many tips on our Crew TV, which is on YouTube. You can simply search it and you will find it. So, Tim, what is our tip of the week this week? And it's a part two. So we haven't really done this before.
Yeah. So the tip this week is when to buy brand new, because we've got a lot of clients that are interested in buying brand new, whether it's single family home or brand new condo. There are better times than others and better places than others to buy brand new.
Yeah, and Tim, we've actually been talking some people in different segments of the market, not all segments, especially the condo range, to stay away from brand new right now. We're actually talking people out of it because, Tim, sometimes there's oversupply, and when there's oversupply, it makes those properties harder to rent out. And that's what we went through in part one, and now part two, Tim. When can you tell people to buy, and what are the reasons behind it?
Well, the first reason is a lot of these builders, if they put up a brand new building and maybe they're not selling as fast as they thought they would, they'll offer a rental guarantee. So if you buy a unit there, they will guarantee a certain rental amount, say just for, numbers, say $2,000 a month. They will guarantee that you get $2,000 a month for the first 2 years. And if you rent it out, you only get $1,500, they will pay you the extra $500. So with that rental guarantee, you can make sure that you're, have a positive cash flow for those 2 years.
Now, the reason why we want a rental guarantee and the reason why we believe in a rental guarantee is when you're buying brand new, you're normally in a construction site for 2 years at least. And normally, Tim and I could tell you, we're just down in Silverado, which just south of there, they're building like crazy. We were down there, we're listing a property tomorrow, Tim, down there. So what's going on down there is there's no infrastructure, there's no shopping, there's no schools. It all has to be built in those newer communities below Silverado. So you want that rental guarantee because you're not going to maximize, Tim, the rents. You're just not going to get the rent straight away, because when these communities are built, it's not just, say, your basement suite for rent. There might be 8 basement suites or 8 different condos for rent. And if you're competing against the developer to get your place rented, the developer has a lot more money than you do. So they can lower their rental rates, no problem at all, to give incentives to tenants out there to rent from them. So you need to understand that. Tim, what other reasons are there?
Another reason is if you're going to buy a new property in an established area. There's a lot of infills going in, infill townhomes, infill condos going in the inner city and sort of the ring around the inner city, about 15 minutes drive. Those are what you put up in established areas. Developers are going in and knocking down, 4 or 5 houses, putting up townhouses or putting up a small apartment building. If you're buying in established areas, all those amenities as I was talking about are already there.
Yeah.
And the transit goes there, and you have access to all the roads. So if it's in an established area, then we recommend it's okay to buy new.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some pockets. Tim was just talking about transport. If the C train's going through, there's many stations around Calgary that there are no towers around it. So if you know that a development is in need, I could tell you, I live on the west side. I could tell you near Chandler up there, Tim, on 17th Ave. There's a C train station, Sirocco Station, and there's nothing there, Tim.
Yeah.
And so I know that the whole Sonterra area is posed for redevelopment later on, and they'll knock that down and put up towers. But even when they do that, there's still not enough housing up there. And then the other thing to watch out for is how big the development is. We always say this. If you go, let's stick to the west side. If you go up near Aspen, there's a whole section of land that they're building. There's going to be close to maybe 5,000 condos going in to that section of land. So when that happens, there's an oversupply. So you really, really have to watch out. And Tim, we always these days pick on Marda Loop. We love Marda Loop. But Marda Loop, we just found out last night that the 2 towers right in the middle of Marda Loop, and Marda Loop is a crazy area. You can't even drive through there right now. You have to be diverted onto side streets to go down a one-way street just to get through it. There's more building coming there. So when you look at a community like that, yes, it's trendy, but for Tim, for the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be a mess in there.
Yeah, with that amount new buildings, new people going into that community. And there isn't really a lot of transit there. Yes, some buses go through there. There's BRT along Crowchild Trail, but you don't have a train going in there, and you've got these massive amounts of people moving in and out. They're all going to have cars. And like as I said, there's tons of traffic now. I can't imagine what it's like when all these buildings are finished.
Yeah.
But another reason to buy new is if the development you're buying in is small. Like if it's around one of these transit-oriented communities, so the buildings they build around C train stations or BRT stops, if the development is fairly small and there's not 5 new towers going up, like they had planned, pardon me, they had planned at Glenmore Landing there, but city council shot that one down.
Yeah.
But if the development is small, then you don't have as much competition when you're renting out your property.
Yeah, and what does that look like here in Calgary? It looks like a community like Inglewood. They're not overbuilding in there, but you can tell Inglewood is changing. And we've always been saying this about Inglewood for the last 2 years, Tim. That is a trendy pocket, and it's going to become even trendier. So little boutique kind of cool areas like that. And there's multiple areas in Calgary that aren't overdeveloped, that are turning around. Even Tim, down in Bowness, they're putting up low-rise apartment buildings on the main street, new restaurants, new shopping's going in. When you look at these little pockets, that's where you buy brand new. We really wanted to get this out to everybody out there only because when we look at the brand new prices, and Tim and I study this day in, day out, we see that the developers sometimes, Tim, already have increased their prices. So yes, you're buying now and taking possession 2025, 2026, but we already feel some of those prices are inflated to accommodate the growth that it's going to get next year. And sometimes when you buy, which we're seeing right now, especially Ontario investors out there, you guys listen up. You guys were buying off the plan, and now they're taking possession of some of these properties, and the properties are worth less than what they paid for them. And that's why we're going in, and we just bought in Aspen. We paid $50,000 less off an investor that picked that up and dumped it. And we knew the value that we could go in and make a profit today. So that is when to buy brand new. Stay tuned as well for many tips over the Christmas break. I know this is our last seminar for December, Tim. So what we're going to do is put on our Crew TV 12 days of real estate education. So when you're not eating turkey, there's plenty of learning to do.
And so that's our tip of the week. If you haven't subscribed to Crew TV to get more of these tips of the week, go on Crew TV, subscribe, and you'll automatically get sent these tips as we put them out.